1. The role of the myth in Chinese culture. Historians believe that ancient Chinese mythology began around the 22nd century BC. However, ancient Chinese myths were not recorded in a systematic way. For more than 1,000 years, all Chinese myths were passed down from generation to generation by word of mouth. As a result, only fragments of them exist today. The problem with many myths that we have today is that they have gone through numerous renderings. Although the basics of the myths may be recognizable to the reader, the details may differ from one source to another. There are many reasons for this. For one, each generation may try to modernize the myth to fit into the society of the time. There may be elements of the myth that are difficult or taboo to repeat, such as sexual relations, human sacrifices, and are therefore avoided or entirely omitted. Regarding translations, Western scholars have used two very different systems to translate Chinese. These are the Wade, Giles, and Pinyin systems. Panku, for instance, can also be read as Pangu, Pinyin. Even with the different translations, the important message behind the myths as a whole is that the ancient people from around the world used them to give meaning to their lives, the universe, and everything surrounding them. The beauty of mythology is that it tells its own story as to how civilizations of the past understood how they came to be and how their beliefs fit into the society of the day. Yet it is important to regard myths as not being primitive. Some people have considered mythology, to actually being a sophisticated means of studying the anthropology and physiology of a culture. About China. What is now China has been inhabited since 500,000 BC. Today it is a vast country that covers 3,705,407 miles, which is about the size of Europe. More than 1.3 billion people live in China and make up more than 1/5 of the world's population. China's history is as ancient as the Greeks. China is not so much another country, but another world, particularly blocked off from the rest of Eurasia by the Himalayan mountains to the south and the Siberian steppe to the north. It has grown up less influenced by other countries than the rest of the world. Despite its isolation, China has had its fair share of invaders and conquerors, but these outside cultures were less developed and were absorbed into the Chinese culture. China did not experience a significant influx of foreigners until the late 19th and early 20th century. Unlike that of the Greeks, Chinese civilization has continued relatively uninfluenced by the present day. More than 2,000 years ago, the ruler Yang Zheng conquered and unified a group of independent states. Their inhabitants spoke and wrote many different languages, wore different clothes, used different weight and measurement systems, and trade with different currencies. These unified states became China. This was a time period when a particular family at any one time ruled as emperors. The new king, or the first supreme emperor of China, tried to unite all the states to be the same. He was unable to standardize the written forms of the many languages. He was also unable to unify the widespread beliefs in different gods. As a result, China today still has many dialects, religions, and different belief systems. As the population of China grew, many small farming communities joined together and eventually developed into villages, towns, and cities. In the cities, ruling families, which became known as dynasties, held power. The dynasties of China can be traced back to the Bronze Age, with the first great dynasty being Zhang, or Jia. From this dynasty, others followed, including Zhou, Qin, Han, Sui, Tang, Song, Yuan, Ming, and even Qing. In 1912, the Qing dynasty ended for good when the Chinese military established the nation as a republic. Today, China is a communist country. The state, rather than individual people, owns most land and property. China's religions. Thousands of years ago in China, people believed that the soul lived on after the body died. They worshipped their ancestors, gods, and forces of nature. Sacrificing objects, animals, and even humans was done at that time to please their gods and ancestors. In the 6th century BC, the founders of China's two main religions, Confucianism and Taoism, were born. The founders were Confucius and Laozi, respectively. These two religions developed before China had any significant contact with the rest of the world. Neither one was built around one central god, but they both incorporated the worship of various deities and traditional mythological beings. When Buddhism became popular in China around the 2nd century AD, many people also embraced it. These three sets of beliefs formed the major components of Chinese ideology and have influenced and established each other's have influenced and stimulated each other's development in China. Confucianism, the most important religion which dominated China for thousands of years, was Confucianism, named after the famous teacher Confucius, 551 through 479 BC. Confucianism was concerned mainly with human relationships. The teachings of Confucianism guided its followers to live harmoniously with one another. Confucius committed his life to doing good and living in harmony with others. He believed that the qualities of loving and respecting each other were just as important as worshiping the gods. Confucianism is more a way of life and a philosophy than a religion. It is a belief that places great importance on developing more moral character and responsibility. Taoism. A central quest within Taoist practices is the search for immorality. Literal, physical immorality. Or immortality. Not morality. Immortality. Followers of Taoism also strive to leave their worries behind, focus on balance in their lives, and reach peace through understanding. Like Confucianism, Taoism is not just a religion, but a whole way of living. Taoists believe in two opposite and equal universal forces, yin and yang. Yin, feminine, yang, masculine, underlie everything in the universe. Yin represents earth and yang stands for heaven. Together, they create a harmony in the universe which symbolizes the balance within the individual. Buddhism. Buddhism was established after Confucianism and Taoism. Buddhism began in India and spread to China in the 2nd century AD and became one of China's 3 great religions. Siddhartha Gautama, or the Buddha, who was born in India, Sirsha, I think, 556 BC, was the founder of Buddhism. And he renounced his privileged lifestyle to search for a way to escape from human suffering. He discovered that through meditation he could finally achieve enlightenment. His followers believed that people could free themselves from fear of suffering and death through meditation and by helping others. Chinese religion was similar to that of ancient Greece, with many gods representing different aspects of nature and beliefs that attempt to explain the mysteries of the universe. These religions, combined with beliefs in hundreds of different immortals, as well as the worship of ancestors, all contribute to the present-day Chinese culture. Under the influence of different dynasties, religions, beliefs, discoveries, and teachings, Chinese mythology now offers one of the great pantheons in world history. The end of Chapter 1, Chinese Mythology.